Welcome back to another episode of Ballroom Chat, the podcast dedicated to sharing the dance journey. I'm your host, Samantha with Love.Live.Dance. Today, I'm joined by Noël from SENtertainment. If you have been to the Great Gatsby competition in the last 2 years, or if you've been to one of the over a dozen competitions that SENtertainment has been a vendor, you are probably familiar with them. They are a photography and videography business that is gaining steam and notoriety in the ballroom dance industry. And I spoke with their owner and founder, Noël, today about his journey from photographing cars as a hobby and passion to becoming a small business owner in the ballroom dance industry. Learning the ropes from salsa to things like Waltz and Peabody, and also just some of the behind the scenes kind of technical information that is helpful for dancers to know when we are thinking about getting photographed or videoed in our performances, or aspiring photographers to start thinking about and working on if they are wanting to go into the business. So please enjoy my conversation with Noël. Well, thank you, Noël, so much for being a guest today on the podcast.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me. It's I wasn't expecting to be on. Most podcasts that I've heard, like they don't, especially with the ballroom. I don't think the ballroom thinks photographers are an essential part of the industry and stuff. So, and I've expected to be invited to be part of a podcast that had to do with the ballroom industry. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you were willing to come on and chat because we had Ryan Kenner on like way back in the beginning to talk a little bit about how he got into the photography side as well as the dancing side. And you are obviously doing a whole lot with SENtertainment with video reels and YouTube videos and photos as well. So I can't wait to kind of pick your brain and chat about the whole production side or the digital entertainment side of ballroom dance.
Awesome. Excited. Let's do it.
So I like to start off with every new guest the same way, which is how did you actually get into the dance industry? Were you a competitive ballroom dancer? Were you a social dancer? Or was the photography and videography side of the world kind of what got you into it?
Gotcha. Into the ballroom dancing, I got into dancing first, and that's based off my upbringing. I am Haitian. Music is something that from the morning, from the morning that we wake up, music is playing until we go to sleep. So I've always had dancing in me, and then I decided back in 2015 to start taking actual classes, but that was not in the ballroom world. That was outside in the salsa, bachata, kizomba, all those things. And that's how I met Christine. And she's the one to kind of brought me into the ballroom industry and the ballroom dancing. And then I discovered a whole new world, literally. And so that's how I got in there. So I started dancing outside, performing professionally in salsa, bachata, and all those things. And then I met Christine, and then she told me, "Oh, I'm a dancer as well in this other whole world of stuff." And I'm like, "This is amazing." So yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So I would say that I mean, I guess it depends on who you talk to, right? So I think of ballroom dancing as anything that is partner dancing. So I include things like kizomba and merengue and bachata and salsa in that kind of family. But I also completely understand the distinction between what we traditionally see as social dances and what we see as like Eurocentric tux, ball gown, like competitive world.
Yes. So for sure, definitely. That was actually one of the things that attracted me to to the ballroom industry, because I get to still partner dance, but wearing those super tough, tails and everything, which is something that I love doing as well. As you can probably, people will realize when I'm on the ballroom competition taking photos, I'm still wearing a suit. So it's like, I mean, versus typical photographers that wear just all black or t-shirt, or like I'm still wearing a suit, because I like both of those aspects. I like the raw aspect of dancing salsa and doing shines and mambo and all that, but I also like wearing a suit. So it's like best way to put both of them together.
Yeah, absolutely. I do have to say, I've seen you at a couple of events now, and you always you are always like so well styled. Is that, I don't know if that's the right word, but like,
Yeah. I try to do it, but also be able to move my arms and do things when I'm moving around fast, because I need to get back and forth from the bar, from the dance floor to my station, to either switch cameras or do that. But at the same time, I want to maintain a like a level of, you know, if you see me just standing on the side without, anything in my hand, you wouldn't know that I'm just a photographer.
no, absolutely, absolutely. So, how did the photography happen? Were you a photographer outside of your social experience, or was that something where, as you started coming into the ballroom world, as Christine was like, "This is what a ballroom dance competition looks like," you're like, "I see a potential here. Let me see what I can figure out and how to like maybe make a business for myself in this world."
Gotcha. Well, photography for me is a hobby turned into a, well, kind of career. I was a photographer before, and becoming a photographer was also a hobby because I was into cars. So cars was my thing. Car building, working on cars, creating things, modification. That was my life for like 10+ years. So going to car shows and seeing all those super cool cars and taking pictures of them, with my phone, and to look at them, back and stuff like that. So I decided to end up to buy a camera that was like $250 at the time. It was a Canon Rebel T3, which was amazing. I used that camera for 3 years, and the amount of work I got from having that one camera, I think that's the camera that I got the most work out of that cheap camera than I do any of my expensive cameras now, because I worked that camera to its maximum capability before I upgraded. And so yes, little by little, as I get through different stages of my careers, photography always came back, where there's something that needed to be done, and I realized that, oh, I can just get that done versus outsourcing it to the vendor, and the vendor takes days to come back, and this and that. And then when I started working with Toyota, I worked for Centennial Toyota, the car dealership in Las Vegas. I started doing videos of like showing the cars. So I would go outside on my lunch break and just take my phone or take my camera, take one of the new cars that I'm excited about that has a really cool color, and just put my camera and start, talking about the car, do the car review. And so little by little, the photo and the video just keep, layering on top of each other, until when I started dancing and then discovered the ballroom world, it was just, I was like, I would bring my camera. Like I wouldn't be like infringing in other people's business. I would ask the photographer that's currently working there that, hey, can I take a couple pictures just for personal, because I love taking photos. And I mean, this is like a perfect stage. Like you get the perfect lighting, the perfect dress, makeup, hair, none of that I had to do.
Right.
And all I have to do is just take photos of those people. So I'm like, this is amazing. So that's how my photography evolved into the ballroom industry. And after I worked with a couple photographers in the industry before, but after 2020, um, and also Christine's father had owned the Great Gatsby Gala. So after a couple years of me doing that, I realized that I can do it on my own. I can do a competition on my own, and the best one to start was actually her dad's competition, because I know the layout, I know the size, I know the schedule, I know all that. So I know how many people I need to get on my team in order to make it happen. So I started by doing that, and that was, I believe, 2021. That was the first time I did a competition by myself as the photographer, like under my team. I've done competition with other people, and then right after that, we got so many calls from people be like, "Hey, we saw that you did the Great Gatsby. Are you available? Can you do my comp? Can you do my comp? It's this, and that." So we're like, "Okay, this is different. this
Yeah.
is this is an opportunity." And we start to realize that a lot of the photographers, a few of them have either switched career or decided to, move out of state. Some of them, different things happen. So it became a void started being created into the ballroom industry for photography. And we were in the best place to take in those challenges. And so, yeah, we just started growing from there. And right now we have about 16 comps that we have scheduled between January to November of this year, and we want to add more to that.
That's incredible. I think I've forgotten how recent
Yeah,
SENtertainment, because you guys, to your point, you've been at a
yeah,
lot of comps the last year, and you're putting out constant content.
yeah, yeah,
So for some reason, I was like, oh, you've been around for like 5 or 6 or 7 years, and you've been slowly
yeah.
growing. But for it to just like explode, how much like how has that been as a business owner, and how are you dealing with scheduling and scaling up your staff and like dealing with all of the stress and the learning experiences of going from, okay, we'll try this at one comp to we have 16 on the schedule and we're constantly getting phone calls?
Yes, it is a challenge, but it's one that I love, that I embrace, and that I love challenging myself. Just a small background: I when I was in Massachusetts, that's where I went to school, went to high school, then finished high school and went to college, and then after that I moved west. But while I started working for AutoZone, the car parts stores, and that was back in 10th grade. I started by working regular, they call it a red shirt. That's like the the base. This is where you start in the company, and that was at the age of 17, 18 and ish. And I graduated high school, went to college, and then kept moving up in the company. And by the time I was 22, I was a store manager. And then after that, I had, 4 stores when I moved west, 2 stores in Las Vegas and 2 store in Utah. So, and at that age of being 22, 23, I had over 75 employees that I had to that and this my assistant manager was 45 years old. I mean, I'm 23, and I have 75 other people that I have to make sure, they come to work on time, that the schedule is right, everything is so. The challenge has been there, and I love it. The only reason why I left that job is because I wanted to challenge myself in a different way. And that's also why I started dancing, is because at that age and everything that I had to do, it was getting a little bit overwhelming. And I was like, I need to find a way to, decompress and to have fun. And I wasn't, gonna drugs, alcohol, any other mediums didn't really seem fun to me. So I was like, let's go back to something that, that I grew up with, that made me feel good. And I was like, dancing. So I started taking dance classes, and it was amazing. So going back to that, the challenge of creating content of and how quickly the business has grown. Yes, it is a challenge. I'm handling the best that I can. I have great people in my team that helps carry some of that load. It's not all me. It's not all them. And so yeah, it's just, and the growing of the team is probably one of the most difficult one, because luckily currently the photographers that we have in our teams are they are photographer that kind of like push the envelopes. And on top of that, we some of us are actual professional dancers as well. So that's what sets us apart from a lot of other teams, is when we take a photo, there's an intention behind it. It's not just pointing the camera and shoot. Like, we are dancers. We know, what to anticipate. We know a lot of the moves. We know, like, so it makes us different when we're looking at the couples, when we look out on the dance floor, we have like we have an idea of what's happening. We're not just like, man, they're running so fast. We don't know if we're ever gonna get anything. Like, we know to let them start the move and then just finish it and be right there to take the photo. So that helps a lot, because a few times we've talked to clients, dancers, and photographers in the past have taken their jobs so poorly that photography is not something they consider just as an important part of their dancing career or the competition. And when they start seeing, what we're doing differently, they come up to us. They're like, "Oh my God, I've never seen so better looking pictures of myself. I've never seen this. Thank you very much," and all that. And so many instances, like the last one that happened at the Envy Ball, there was a lady, Christine told me that afterward, that came looking for her photos, because we have a TV on our table where when people pass by, they can see their photos on the screen. And she came because of that, looking for photos, and she wanted to get a photo of her because she said she's been dancing for, by the way, like 10 plus years. She
Mhm.
doesn't have any good photos of her for them, like to put on her tombstone when she passes. I'm like, what?
Oh no.
And she was like, I want a good photo of me dancing. And when I saw the photo you guys took and put on TV of me, I was like, that they got that photo. So I was like, and like all the times we've had people that came and said, "Oh, I want to get the perfect photo for my Christmas card. I want to get like it just." And I'm like, "How is that? How is this the first time?" I mean, it feels good that we're doing something differently, but it makes me realize how other photographers in the past have taken that job so poorly, and that also make a lot of the organizers look photography as something that, if I have it, I have it. If I have someone that just there, it's that's adequate. When really photography is just as important as anything you have during the comp. Like probably more important than dresses because most dancers go to the comp with like multiple dresses. So if one of them get ripped, they have a backup. Versus photography, we capture everything that happens at your comp. Like if a birthday celebration anniversary at the envy ball, I captured someone asking someone else to marry them like on the stage. Like how without photography, how is this going to be like, how are you going to remember any of that happened? Like the organizer wasn't even around when that happened, and I was like, hey, did you realize somebody got asked to marry them on your stage? She was like, what? When did that happen? I was like, oh, let's shoot this is when it happened.
Oh,
So it's like, photographers is yeah, so it's growing fast, and it's a lot of challenge. Growing the team is the most difficult part, but the contents and the rest, I mean, I love that's where I live. I love creating.
yeah. Well, and I want to talk a little bit more about like your philosophy when it comes to photography and also training up a team so that the way that you shoot competitions is consistent, because I do think there's something really special about the moments that you're able to capture. At Envy Ball, I had a moment where I don't remember if it was in the middle of the tango or the waltz, but we were about to hit this line and I suddenly saw you and I saw you move your camera and we hit this line and I was like, "Oh, he got it. I'm so excited."
Yeah.
and
Yeah. It's Yeah, no, I was gonna say, yeah, that is the denser part of us, and that it allows us to see, when you're winding up for something magical is about to happen, and this is where we need to be. Versus, sometimes, well, there's one thing where it's special. When there's a solo and I don't know the person's routine, that one I will literally watch the routine through my camera lens. Like I will have my camera on because I have no idea what they're going to do next, and I will and just click when I feel like something is going to come because I don't know their routine. But when it comes to actual, you know, routine numbers, anything like that, we all dance those style, and we know how things happen. Even though we don't know your choreography, we know. You're going to do something on the 8 count or on the 3 count. Like you're not going to like you can't walk sideways. So there's a way things move that we can anticipate.
so
So
when
that
you're
allows us when we see you guys dance or about to start something that right, like just be ready. It's gonna happen right there. Yeah.
So is that one where when you're looking to hire out other or hire on other photographers to your team, that you're specifically looking for people with a competitive background that know how to dance and have danced at least a couple of the dance styles prior, or is that something where when you're training someone, you maybe like go into a dance studio and say, okay, we're going to watch this couple while they're practicing. When would you actually hit the button to capture the moment?
So ideally, we would love to hire people with dancing background. That doesn't always happen. However, to your second point, yes, when we hire them, it's if I'm with Christine, we will go in like a parking lot and we will start dancing, and we'll just tell them to shoot, literally, and then we'll look back at it and we'll see. And we'll also slow down the routine that we do, and we'll just and we'll do a move and we'll stop there and we'll be like, this is where the photo would make sense because my hand is not in my face, my hand's not on her face, like she's not fully turned, her legs are not crooked. So those are the things to look out for when they're moving around each other. So yes, we do a training like that. It's not just giving the person photographer the camera and tell them, go out and see if you can figure it out. No, we do a training where they see what a dancing looks like and how we move around each other and what to look out for. And over time, with small incremental changes, they get better and better and better. But the other thing is, yes, a photographer that is the main thing is a photographer that is more than just like if someone is just a landscape photography, that wouldn't probably really work much. If there's like a wildlife photography, that one would work because they take pictures of things that is unpredictable and that just takes off running and or flying in different direction, and they have to be ready. So if they have a experience in moving subject, then that's a plus, even if it's not dancing. But we do go through a training with everyone and show them, what to look out for.
Yeah, well, and there's such a parallel between what you do in order to capture the moments on the dance floor and what the dancers are doing in order to actually create the moments, right? Because it's all action and reaction. So you're waiting for that hint of, okay, something's about to happen, and then being in the right place at the right time to actually capture that signal that, the lead has sent to the follow, or the follow has sent to the lead, maybe, which I think is really exciting and really cool. So something that I think you guys do a really great job of is have an incredible social media presence. You're really taking advantage of the fact that we are living in a digital age and that a lot of us are flipping through our phones and waiting to see something that catches our interest, especially with Reels. Do you have a TikTok? Do you do TikToks as well?
I TikTok was actually the first one that I started, but I'm definitely not the best person when it comes to social media and digital aspects. So I created that back in 2020. Christine and I would create a TikTok together that did really good, and we're doing making dances, videos, stuff like that. And she told me that I should create one. I did, posted a couple things, and got busy with building the business and other businesses that I was creating in the process of creating at that point. So I didn't really pursue it that much. And also, so I have the Instagram, and I also have the YouTube. Now, the Instagram and the YouTube, they are two different things that I'm really proud of how they're coming along so far, because the Instagram, I wanted to highlight people that are not always the professional, because any Instagram that you look at, any of the ballroom, reels that you look at are of the people at the top, the professionals. Yes, they are awesome. They have the best choreography that allow you to capture the best videos. But there are a lot of other people that puts, time and sweat and blood into their routine. Yes, they may not be yet champions, but they still really good dancers, and they deserve to be highlighted once in a while, not just, wait until you get to the top, then you can get the recognition.
Right.
Like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that I love watching that are not, the top champion, but they're a champion in my book because I love their choreography. I love their enthusiasm. They're so approachable. You know, so yes, I mean, those people, they're people too. They're champions too, and their own categories. Even if the rest of the judges panel don't see it that way at the moment, but yeah. So my Instagram, that's what I want to use it for, is to highlight people that are great dancers, that are doing great things in the industry, but maybe not the top champion. And I do highlight the champions too. I do make reels about the champion, but the idea is mostly to highlight the rest of, because I mean the industry is not 100% champions. I mean, there's one champion for every 15 other dancers. So it's like there's a lot more to be done there. So that is my Instagram. That is what it's being used. That's what I'm using it for right now. That's what I wanted to continue evolving into. I don't know where that's gonna go at the end, but on the other side is on my YouTube channel, which if you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see the first one says CES 2020, which is the Consumer Electronics Show that happens in Las Vegas, which is the biggest electronic show in North America, and that has to do with absolutely everything that interests me. This is again where my background of photography and video comes from, which is like everything electronic, cars and stuff like that. So I go to CS and I film, the next car, the electric this and that and all that. But I also have a playlist called World of Ballroom. And in there, the thing that I don't see on YouTube is, as a dancer or anyone who like dancing, beside Dancing with the Star videos, there's not really an account on YouTube where you see what a competitor atmosphere looks like when it comes to dancing. Yes, you can type, international Latin rumba, and you'll see a lot of video of people teaching you certain steps in a studio or something like that, but you're not going to see how does it look like when there's eight couples performing eight different routines to the same song on the same floor looks like. How chaotic is that? Because if you want to learn, if you want to know, like, yes, you can learn your international rumba, but when you go to the dance floor, you're like, holy, I did not expect it to look like that. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, people, like, you need to now be able to manage and weave in and out of people, and they're doing it at full speed. Like, there's no, like, you can't hesitate. If you hesitate, you get run over.
Yep.
So the YouTube channel, that's what I'm creating right now, is having a lot of, like, if you go to my YouTube channel, I coordinate them as, Latin is orange, rhythm is red, ballroom is blue, and smooth is purple. So like all of the smooth dances, like the color coordinate, you can see all of them in order. So that way, as just a spectator, you can see what a waltz looks like on the big floor with 6, 7, 8 couples, semifinal looks like, and you're like, oh God, this is beautiful. This is what they show. Some movies show it like that because they always dance the waltz in every movies. So that's what the YouTube is for, to highlight the group aspect of those dances. And also, if a showcase is great, I will record that and I'll put it on there and stuff like that. But yeah, so the Instagram is to highlight dancers in a real type atmosphere, and the YouTube is to create full long routine videos of not just one couple, but 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 couples on the floor at the same time, to kind of see what it looks like when you have that many people on the same floor doing different things to the same song.
Yeah, I appreciate kind of that different approach for different applications. So the fact that you are highlighting not just the top couples or not just, the world champion, even open gold pro-am
Yeah,
dancers, but anyone that you're like, you know what, they're doing an awesome job and I want to
yeah,
just celebrate them and give them a little bit of recognition and have them be like, oh, I made the reel on SENtertainment from this comp.
yeah,
Isn't that cool? Like, it gives you something to share with your friends and family and be like, look, I did this thing, which I
yeah.
don't necessarily think that we do a great job of when it comes to students in the industry, or the people that aren't on the podium for professional or amateur competition. And then to kind of show like the big view of this is what a competition actually looks like. It's not just going to spotlight on one couple while they're dancing. This is what the
Yeah.
entire floor looks like the entire time. I think is great, just education, because I think we need to do better about educating the public about what our industry is. So on that kind of idea of sharing educational tools and just learning more about the industry in general. You mentioned in the very beginning that you came from the salsa, bachata, kizomba community, and then made your way into the ballroom world. So what was the biggest kind of learning hurdle that you overcame, or what was something that maybe caught you off guard the first time you walked into a ballroom dance competition?
Um, I mean, I would say it's the dance style, like the number of, yeah, World Tango Foxtrot Viennese, World Tango Room, like how many there were in that same competition. It's because when I go to a salsa congress, I know there's a salsa room, there's a bachata room, there's a kizomba room. Those are like, if there might be a West Coast swing, but sometimes they put the West Coast swing with the kizomba. But that's that. You go there, there's gonna be four main dances that's going to be happening the whole weekend. But when you go to a dance competition, each day there's like, and each heat, like it's so many that I had to learn. That was probably the biggest thing is learning, is realizing that all of those dances are part of the same competition. Even more reason why I wanted to highlight people that are not just the top couple, because I mean I started performing knowing that I need to know four main dances: salsa, bachata, kizomba, and a little bit of swing and or merengue or something like that. But now these people, they're learning 8, 9, 10 dance and performing them, you know, 50, 60, 100, 200 times. And I'm like, this is amazing. Like, make put me out of breath with just watching. Like, how they keep going. And so that was probably one of the biggest things, is how many is the diversity of dance they have, and the dresses for each, and the hairstyle, and like there is a whole operation. So that was probably one of the biggest things, is how many style they actually are. And then ended up loving, of all of them, smooth. Smooth is my favorite, and favorite dance is Viennese Waltz. I don't know why. I just love it. I just melt whenever I hear it. I can barely do my job.
I would agree with that as well. I feel like
Yeah.
as a smooth dancer, I'm torn between liking foxtrot and Viennese waltz, tango if I'm super
Yeah.
angry. But I think Viennese waltz, I think there's more modern music that
Mhm.
gets played when we dance the Viennese waltz, and because the emotions are so deep and so
Oh,
heightened in Viennese waltz,
yeah.
it just I feel like as an audience member you can connect with it a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's the other thing too, is coming from the Latin side of, I mean, I said Latin, but no, it's not like international Latin. It's Latin like Caribbean Latin, Cuba, Haiti, Dominican Republic type of Latin, that I'm talking about, is the music that we have. Yeah, there's rumba, which is the Cuban type of it, which is very like macho and like very high posture and stuff. And then you have the salsa, which is, I mean, salsa is just like a pretty much a show off, and then bachata is the central aspect of the dancing. But with Viennese waltz, it brings a different aspect where, yes, you can feel a lot of emotion while being so darn elegant at the same time. It's like yeah, like what if I'm watching it and I'm watching the couple dancing, it just like you can feel the emotion, like just can feel the energy radiating, but at the same time it just looked so peaceful. It's weird. And I just, yeah. So because of that, our first dance, half of it was a Viennese waltz, because I was like, it just had to be.
Yeah, you had how many different styles did you end up incorporating in total in your first dance?
I think it was about three. Yeah, so there was a Viennese waltz, cha-cha, and a little bit of West Coast swing. I don't remember. Yeah, but I think it was like about three that minimum, probably was four. I don't remember, but I remember the Viennese waltz because it was the first one and I had to be.
I love that. I love that. And
Yeah.
you've since branched out into Peabody. So before we get to your Peabody experience, how many styles in total do you know at this point, between your social styles and picking up ballroom along the way with Christine?
Ooh, let's see. Salsa, bachata, kizomba, merengue, compa, which is the Haitian one, rumba, which is the Cuban one. Now going into ballroom, so I'd say Viennese waltz, foxtrot, waltz, tango. I did a little bit of that. No, actually not tango. Paso doble. And yeah, I would say, yeah, probably like 10 to 12.
That's a respectable number of dance styles to know.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and
Yeah,
I didn't even add Peabody to that yet. So yeah,
there you go. At least
right.
11. Um,
Yeah. Which is 11 is our number, so that's perfect.
there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the Peabody experience. Obviously, we've already mentioned you're married to Christine, her father's Louis. There's this Great Gatsby combination. So why Peabody? What did you think of Peabody? Will you dance Peabody again?
um, why Peabody? Let's see. Let's go back with a little bit of backstory, is how Christine and I met. And that was after the first edition of The Great Gatsby back in 2016. And I saw she was supposed to, because she was doing the digital media, the social media for the competition. So all the photos and videos from the comps, all the updates. And at the moment, we didn't have any. We had friends in common, but we weren't friends on Facebook. And because of that, Facebook somehow published her post on the main page that I was able to see it. And I saw all those, old school 1920 Gatsby outfit. And then I saw the cars, and I was like, cars, old school cars, yes. So I reached out to her. I was like, hey, my name is this and that. What is this Great Gatsby thing I see you posted? I see the cars and the dress and stuff like that. Great Gatsby was one of the books that I remember I retained from reading back in high school that I actually enjoyed. I would love to be part of that. What is that all about? So she gave me the information about that this is a dance competition and blah blah. At the moment, I was only 1 year into my dancing career outside of the ballroom. So I was like, oh, I'm learning how to dance. Maybe I can do this too. So I was like, yeah. So next, when is the day? So she gave me all the information for next year. I was like, I'd love to be part of it. So give me information what I have to do, to be part of it. So that's how that started, and things happened to the end, and then we married and all that. And yeah, and then no, and then Peabody was. I think we just wanted to perform, like, because we've never performed professionally as on a ballroom in a ballroom circuit. Like, we've done shows dancing ballroom dances, but not on a ballroom dance floor, like literally competing against other couples. So we've always thought about it, and we've always wanted to, but we couldn't find the right dance, the right time, because if we're at the competition and we're working, and then, like, it was difficult. But given that Peabody was one that we, like, every year it's so fun, because Peabody is probably the only time on the floor where you have smooth Latin rhythm, all dancers competing against each other in the same time. That doesn't happen, any other time, because people have their own style. So Peabody is such a fun, like, part of just the greatest dancers just having fun, because that's where people just get let loose and just have fun.
Yeah.
So that what attracted us to decided to create a Peabody routine and compete in the Peabody, and it was awesome. Will I dance Peabody again? Most definitely.
Awesome. Yeah, I think Peabody, I am sure that somebody that is incredibly passionate and incredibly knowledgeable about Peabody will get very angry in the comments for me saying this, but I feel like Peabody is the merengue that travels around the dance floor. Like, there, you can play so loosely with the rules because you just have to take that 8 count and you can make it whatever you want. So if you want to pull in swing influences or Lindy or Charleston, or you can go with it wherever you want.
I mean, yeah, the Peabody, I would say, until the Great Gatsby brought it back, literally faded out, probably for the last 20, 30 years. And again, probably people in the comments are going to be very angry about it. The ones that are, diehard Peabody, like, this is how you dance it. I'm not going to let it die. But, if you put Peabody online, you'll probably see the Great Gatsby 8 out of 9 times. So, yeah, it kind of had to modernize it a little bit. Yes, we try to keep a lot of the traditional aspect of it as best as we can. I mean, there's not that much, digital archive to be able to reference from. So for what we can find, and yeah, and just make it what, our own, and make it fun, because otherwise, there's a lot of dances that you can get a professional top competitor in Latin or in standard to dance Peabody. If it's not fun, well, then, yeah, they're going to be like, this is wasting my time. Like, I need to focus on my craft. I need to focus on getting this. But when you make it fun, they're like, oh, this is cool. Like, I don't, like, I can take, my mind off of, 24/7 standard, and I can have fun and dress in cool outfit. And so, yeah, that's how it had to be in order for it to kind of breathe this new life that it has now.
Definitely. I want to pivot a little bit to both your background in the salsa and bachata world, and then also just like growing up with dance as part of your culture. So when I look at social styles, I think one thing that something like salsa or West Coast swing has done a really good job of over the years is adapt to the music that's currently being played in clubs or on the radio. What has your experience been kind of seeing both sides of the social dances and the ballroom dances when it comes to music and modernity?
Um, when it comes to with that, yes, I do think I mean, in the salsa world, I would say for sure, a lot of the songs that are very well respected are older in the salsa world. However, yes, there's a lot of new artists that are trying to, to chime in there, and they're doing a lot more remixes with popular songs to kind of like modernize that aspect. But in salsa, they'll dance to the same song for the rest of their life, and they'll be just as happy as the first time. So there's that. But in the ballroom world, yes, I do see a lot emphasis on using the songs that are out now, like from movies and stuff like that. And I love that aspect as well. I think there's both of them. And I mean, one thing that I'm still curious about is why are there only one song for Paso Doble? Like, how has not anyone ever, create another one? Like, it's the same song. Yeah, they played it with two different, instrument. It sounds, but it's the same song.
Yep.
How, from all these years, there's only one song for Paso Doble?
Well,
Like,
and if it so Paso Doble is actually a type of music. Like you can hear other Paso Doble songs; they do exist.
yeah.
Um,
But in the
someone,
competitive world, for some reason, they just love to use that one song, and
yeah,
and which I don't know. I mean, I guess that kind of like with all the other things being, or they just pick the songs randomly. Dancers kind of know when it's the Paso Doble. They all choreograph for that song, so it kind of like even the playing field a little bit when it gets to that point, because you're like, okay, so it's kind of like professional Peabody, because professional Peabody, when you know the song ahead of time, so you can choreograph for that song. So I think that kind of gives it advantage for all the couples, but I'm still shocked every time when it says, when the announcer says Paso Doble, I know it's gonna
bum,
start. Dun,
ba-da-dum,
dun,
ba-da-dum.
dun, dun. It's going that's the song. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So again, someone can come at me in the comments. I like that because that means that I'm getting educated. But I believe that Paso Doble has an interesting history as far as like landing in the ballroom dance world. Again, probably butchering the history of this, but I believe originally tango in the Argentine style was actually considered the Latin dance, and Paso Doble was actually considered the standard dance. It had Paso Doble has its roots obviously in the cape work of a matador and kind of
Yeah.
that bullfighting spirit. So, to your point about it being choreographed to a very specific song, because there are these three hits that happen in the
Hmm.
music at the professional level, two in the upper levels, non-finals, and one in like bronze and silver level. I think you have to keep it with the same song because people are counting like four sets of eight, a set of 12, two sets of eight, a
Okay,
set of four. So they're blocking their choreo in a very specific manner. Um,
gotcha.
and that's also why it looks a little bit out of place in the Latin five dance. It's like the only one that has heel strikes and a very like lifted formal frame, and it just feels a little out of place, and it's because it was originally a standard dance. So yeah, Paso Doble is like the cousin of the Latin family that we're all like, we like you.
Oh, yeah, I know, right? You're fun. Got
Yeah.
it. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because, but yeah, every time I hear it, I'm like, man, that is like I'm not a you know musician by any mean, but man, that's like perfect opportunity to try to create something else. Because I'm sure Brent or any of the the music MCs, they'll be like, if it makes sense, they'll play it. But given, like you said, that those count have to be there, you kind of have like a like I mean, I guess any song that you make will probably sound the same because you have to have those count in those particular places. But I mean, it still would be fun to hear another one that sounds the same.
Oh, definitely. Well, and I think it would be really fun to mess with professional Latin dancers and just play a different paso doble that has a hit in a different place and make them listen to the music and adapt to it. That'd be
Yeah,
really cool.
yeah, that would because they all know that song so well that if you put something else, they will have to now relearn. And hey, who knows? That might end up make for cooler choreography, better choreography, more intricate choreography. Because at this point now, Paso Doble is not. I mean, I'm not a Latin dancer, and I excuse anyone who's a Latin dancer who, like you said, is probably gonna say something in the comment. Is that it allows them to allow the possibility to evolve in a different way, because now if that you've been dancing to the same song for 20, 30 years, like there's only certain way you can evolve that dance. Like, but if you have a different song, that opens a whole new world of opportunity. Like instead of starting with the 4 and then the 12, and you can start with the 12 and then the 4, and like that will now make it so much, give you infinite possibility. But who knows? We'll see
Yeah. Yeah,
if it ever
I
happens.
agree with it. I feel like, Strictly Ballroom was all about the technique and the style of Paso Doble and one man rebelling against the ballroom dance industry.
Yeah.
We need a DJ to rebel against the ballroom dance industry.
Exactly. Just like play something random and just watch what people do. It's just like, go. That's all you got. A minute, go.
Yeah, so let's talk about the 55 seconds in pro-am comps, the 105 in certain heats, 110 moving up to a whopping 135 in professional heats. You already mentioned you are not out there to capture the most photos. You're there to capture the
Yeah.
best photos and to capture the best moments. So how much pressure does that put on you and your photographers to get as many people covered as possible in the shortest amount of time?
That is very stressful. And but we've gotten to the point where within that minute or minute and a half to be able to cover to one person to be able to cover at least 4 couples to get at least between 15 to 20 photos of each within that minute and a half. It is a lot of pressure. So you'll see if we hear that there's a semifinal, it's more stressful to cover the semifinal than it is to cover the final. Because the semifinal, there's half of the couples not coming back. So if we don't get the photos during the semifinal, there's no photo.
Yeah.
Versus, it's just gonna keep getting smaller and smaller. So those people that are in final dance this, each of these times from the quarter to the sem to the final. So like the higher the competitor count, the more stress it is, because we're trying to capture the very, very first one, whether it's a quarterfinal or semifinal, because that's when there are the most couples that that are not coming back. So that's the stress part. But if it's just a final, they're only dancing that one time. So it's like we have to pay attention, listening to what's happening. Because if there's a semifinal, we can take the semifinal, trying to, and it's kind of like I hate to be judgmental, but we kind of have to be. It helps to know the dancers, to know who's going to make it to the final.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't need to focus on them at that moment. We're like, you'll be back next, in the next heat. Let me get this couple that may not make it, not because they're not great dancers, because we know, a little bit of the background of how, things go. So it helps to know that. So we know during that, you know, 5.5 minutes, capture everybody. If those couples, come in front of you and they're doing crazy, awesome things, photograph them as well. But don't focus too much time on them, because they'll make it to the next round. But those couples, trying to capture as much so that way at the end you ended up having just as many photos as the winner as you did the person that didn't make it to the final, because you had a system. You're not again, that's just pointing and shooting. You kind of have a night, or like this is how this is go. This is I'm gonna focus on this time and blah blah. So that's how we. It's a lot of pressure, but that system allows us to capture the best that we can. Everybody that dances.
Oh no, that totally makes sense. I think prioritizing folks that you know are not likely to make the final, making them the priority in the semifinal, so that way you can focus your attention on the final dancers when they're in the final, makes complete sense. And that, I imagine, takes a lot of just being on the circuit and knowing the names and looking at the heat sheets and having conversations that are like, okay, what do I expect of this couple? Am I seeing them only today in Rising Star? Are they coming back in Open? Maybe they're only dancing in Open and I didn't get to see them earlier in the week. So I need to make sure that I get photos on Saturday night because they weren't there Friday night, and kind of balancing it that way.
Yeah, for sure. And in a lot of cups that you mentioned, that is the couple that dance in the Rising Stars sometimes will dance in the Open, and you can get the photo with them of the Rising Star, but when they dance in the Open, they change dress. They're completely different. So it's like another opportunity. You can say, I took a photo of you yesterday because you're wearing different dress, different outfits, different shoes, different hairstyle, everything. So it's like not just one. You always have to be mindful about, what did that person look like yesterday? Go into my folder real quick, pro Rising Star this, and see what they were wearing, and look up like, okay, it's the same one. I still want to get some more, but it's the same dress. Versus if you're like totally different, or like, okay, this is a whole new day, a whole new chapter. Like this is starting it over, because couples do that all the time, and they're not gonna have time to come see you and be like, hey, I'm wearing a different dress this time. Can you grab more photo? Like that is our job as the photographers, to document and capture everybody's journey in the dance at the competition every time.
I imagine it's difficult to do when you have, 200, 300, 400 different competitors that you're photographing at different events. But do you ever have moments where you're like, I saw them hit this moment, I missed it this time around, but darn it, I'm going to try and get that moment the next time I see them at either the next round or the next event?
100%. 100%. Like I will follow, like sometimes you see me at events, I will like literally, because each time they dance, they, couple switch position in the ballroom. You'll see me photographing somebody from one place. And when they said couple take place for your next dance, and you'll see me just, I was like, I know what you're about to do, and I'm not going to miss it this time. So, 100%. I do that all the time.
I saw the photo that you guys posted of Jessica Mancini and David Moon. I was like, how many times have you seen their foxtrot and been like, I'm going to get this shot?
And she said it too when she came by the booth. She was like, I've had this picture in like 3 other forms. One of them where he's just about to jump, one where he's finishing, but no one has ever been able to capture him right above my head. I was like, thank you.
Oh yeah.
No, but that was awesome. And literally at the same time that he was doing that, I was filming. So we have that moment on still and on video. So I was like, yes, winner.
That's awesome when that like lines up and you're like, I got it. I so got it at this one.
Yeah. And between our photographers, we do that all the time. Like after, the 10 to 15 seconds we have between dances, we know the shot that we got, and we just run to each other. We're like, look at this. And we're just like, this is the money shot. We call them TV shots, because we have the screens that we display. So when we got that shot, that is just like, wow, we're like, look at this, I got the TV shot. And then we just, once the heat is done, we'll go back and put that on TV, and it's just like, mind blown.
Yeah. The TV, I mean, obviously that's an incredible marketing strategy, and like tip of the cap to you guys for doing that. But I also think it gets people really jazzed about trying to get on the TV, like trying to dance the best that they can, and trying to, keep an eye out for where you are on the dance floor so that they can hit that moment and end up on the TV.
I have so many couples now when they see us on the sideline, they like dance for us. And it also helps to have great choreography because it sometimes it is very difficult to photograph couples that their choreography is way too intricate and way to get too together that is very technical, but visually, I mean, it's not a mess. Visually, it's complicated. It's difficult to get a photos where there's, that you can see like lines and extension because it's very technical and it's awesome. That is, some dancers are really technical dancers and they're amazing. The thing they can do in, in 55 seconds or a minute and a half, it's like ridiculous. I can't even focus. But at the same time, if I can't focus, my camera can't focus. So at the end of the day, I can't get any great photos of you unless you're doing it, unless you buy it yourself on the floor and then you just do it on a slow motion. So yeah, having a great choreography definitely helps. But yes, knowing that we have that display TV there, and we put people that we capture like great photos when they have a choreography that allows us to do so. Yeah, they literally they cut through the floor coming at us like from any angle, and it's awesome because and sometimes I feel bad because I've already got like really awesome photos of them, and I'm trying to take the other couple that that is in the semifinal, but that's not going to make it to the final. But they're dancing in front of me, dancing for me, and I'm just like, I brought this upon myself. So
Noelle,
I
we're
just
all attention seekers. If we see a camera, we're going to dance for it.
and I love it. It makes my job so much easier. We all love it. Like my team, we live for that. We're just like, yes, give it to me.
Well, and I think that energy is, it's talking from a dancer's perspective now. I think the energy that you have behind the camera makes it so much easier for us to dance for the camera because
Yeah.
I've been to events where, the photographers are definitely good. Like, I'm not questioning their technical prowess, but you can tell that it's click and very deadpan. But I feel like you and your team are always like, yes, let's go. Like, you are the hype men for the people that are on the dance floor, which, that makes it much more fun for us. And that gives us a
Yeah.
little bit of feedback.
Yeah, we try to be, and being that again that we are dancers and performers and actors and other aspect of our lives, we understand when there's a lens in front of you, you know, you perform, and if the director behind the camera is someone that is awesome to work with, you're going to perform even more. There's no pressure. I mean, there's still pressure, but the pressure is even less. So it's the same thing when we're behind the camera, knowing that as a performer and actor in other aspect that it's the energy like radiate through the lens, like they see it, like they feel it too. So yeah, it's a two-way street. Like we give them, they give us, and magic happens.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, hey, before we wrap things up, I want to ask two quick fire questions for you. The first
Sure.
is, if you are someone who is going to competitions and has not found their, profile picture photo, or they haven't found the photo that they want to hang up on the wall and share with their friends and family, what is a tip that you would want to give them for setting themselves up so that you can capture the best photo for them?
um I would say the number one thing is come talk to us before you start dancing, because we will. That the we have I every photographer of mine, we have the rules that we need to capture a minimum of 15 25 photos of each couple dancing. But if you talk to us ahead of time, we can easily double or triple that and really pay attention to, because some of those usually there's a lot of competitors that dance 10 heat or 20 heat. Like that's not a unless we know that you're looking for something, that's not a lot for us to be able to get you that amount of photo that you, because and the other thing too that happens so many times is what we think is an okay photo, the competitors is like, oh my god, I just love everything about that photo. And I and sometimes they'll, and like many times I'm standing next to them or going through the photos with them, and I can't wait to get to the photo that I love. And they saw a photo before that, they're like, oh my God, this is the photo. And they look at me and I don't have, that's not the photo that I thought was the best.
Right.
And they're like, what, you don't like it? You don't think I look good? I'm like, no, 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 that's not it. I mean, it's your photo. You're doing dancing. You like, I don't see everything you see, and I'm not doing the moves. But if we capture something that that have that much effect on you, please let it be the photo.
Right.
And that's the thing. So a lot of times we can do the best that we can, but the dancer will see things differently, and they'll be looking for something else, and they'll see maybe it's it's a mistake they've been doing for long good period of time, and they finally see that they corrected it in the photo, and that's the photo that's like, but I don't know that.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah. But if they let me know ahead of time that, hey, I'm only dancing 10 heat, or I'm this, or I'm looking to get a photos for my Christmas card or for my tombstone, like, whatever it may be, it's a wide range. Then yes, definitely let us know before you dance. That'll, astronomically change that odd to be able to get you that shot that you're looking for.
Awesome. And then for competition organizers, what's one thing that events overlook that act in reality is super important to being able to capture the event in photo and video?
Number one, lighting. Lighting, 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 all of it, like lighting. It is it is expensive, but it's night and day. Lighting is just so, 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 so important. Like, more important than anything, because no one wants to, those competitors, it's not just us. Those competitors are paying, good money to come to those hotels, stay 3, 4 nights, which is $500-$600 sometimes. And then they're dancing in how do you say that, conference room
Mm-hmm.
with, like orange, yellow, fluorescent lighting. I mean, it just, it's, yeah, lighting is the number one thing. Just do better in lighting. Like, invest a little bit in lighting. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Noel, so much for being a guest today on the podcast.
You are very welcome. Thank you for having me. This was awesome. We covered a lot of cool things. I can wait to hear this back and to share it to. And I hope, the organizers and dancers and everybody, get to listen to it and hopefully take a tip here and there, know what we discussed, to understand how we can help them better. I mean, it's not just, how we can help them better, what we can do different. Maybe there's something that we're missing, and as a photographer, that they're like, I wish somebody would do this. Like, let us know, please.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there were some great tips and tricks that you spoke about there, and definitely some insider knowledge that was shared, which is fantastic. And if folks are listening or watching this episode and they have suggestions or they've got follow-up questions, those links are going to be in the description box below. You can follow up with Noel and his team afterwards and get the ball rolling. So yeah, thank you so much once again.
Thank you, Samantha. Thank you for having me. And awesome. Love it.
Thank you once again to Noel for being a guest on today's episode. If you want to follow along with his journey or find out more information about SENtertainment, either to track down your photos and videos from previous events or to maybe book them at an upcoming event, you can do so using the links in the description box below. As always, I'm Samantha. I'm your host with Love.Live.Dance. You can follow Ballroom Chat on Facebook and Instagram at Ballroom Chat. You can also support the podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Ballroom Chat, where we post behind the scenes interviews and additional content. If you have not already done so, please do make sure that you hit the like button, follow button, or subscribe button, whichever platform you are consuming the Ballroom Chat podcast on. And if you haven't already done so, maybe consider giving us a 5-star review on some place like Apple Podcast. That just lets people know that we exist. It puts us up a little bit higher on your search rankings so more people can share their dance journey and share our dance journey with them. And as always, stay safe, stay positive, and we hope to see you dancing very soon.